Good morning. This is Professor Gardetto, and welcome to week 2 of Summer Math G. I'm on the Connect Math site right now, and your week 2 is going to be similar to week 1 in material. Um, the three homework assignments, homework 4, homework 5, homework 6, are all due by Sunday the 27th at 11:59 p.m. And then you'll be taking a quiz beginning on anytime on Thursday through Sunday. You'll be taking quiz number 2. So this mini video is going to be talking about topics that you're going to see on homework number 4. So let me go to there right now. So start the assignment. All right. So homework 4 is going to be introducing to you the coordinate system, or the rectangular coordinate system, which is basically graphing. When you see rectangular coordinate system, basically you have a graph here. And so starting out pretty simple, we're just going to be graphing points. There's 22 questions. So at the beginning here, we're just going to graph a point. So if they ask you to graph a point, they're going to give you it's kind of looks like interval notation, but it's not. It actually gives you two numbers separated by a comma. The first number is the x coordinate, and the second number is the y coordinate. So it's an alphabetical order. X comes before y. And so if you notice, you have a horizontal line here. That's the x. That's the x right there. And then you have a vertical axis. This is the y. And so we simply go to this point. It's basically a set of directions. -3 is the x value, and 1 is the y value. So we start here at 0, 0, which is sometimes called the origin. And we go to -3, and then we go up to 1, and we put a point there. So to put a point, we can, I think, use this tool here, and we can actually put that point here in, or we could just take this and go click this pencil tool. This is an eraser, so if we make a mistake, we can click the eraser tool. But if we click this pencil icon, a big red pencil comes up, and we just go to -3, 1, and click that, and then there's the point. And then we can come down here, and we can go to the next part, which actually it says check answer. So we can just check the answer here, and it'll give you the all important green check mark before you go on to the next part. Okay. And all these are very similar. They give you these are called, it's called an ordered pair. X comes before Y, and so it's the order is important. So number 2, instead of giving you an ordered pair here, they give you an equation. The equation has an x and a y in it, and it asks you a question here. It says the ordered pair 0, -3 is a solution to the equation or is not a solution to the equation. So the equation here has an x and a y in it, and we know 0 is the x and -3 is the y. So if we plug 0 in, and we plug 0 in for x, and we plug -3 in for y, we're either going to have a true equation or we're going to have a false equation. So if it's true, then you're going to say it is a solution. If it's false, you're going to say it is not a solution. So if I plug that in, 0 here, that makes 0. If I plug -3 in here, -3 times 3 is -9. So -9 equals -9. So I'm going to choose is. I'm going to check my answer. And so basically, they're asking you to check points to see if they are solutions to your linear equation. Okay. Homework 4 is about the graphing um, um, equations, but they kind of slowly get you into it. I made this homework assignment so it slowly gets you to graph the equations. Um, So let's see. Let me go to 3. All right. So 3, it asks you to complete a table. So they give you some values, and then some values are left with the blue boxes. So if we plug in, here's the equation: 5x plus 3y equals 6. So for this first one, if I plug in y is -1, if y is -1 right here, I have, let's see, I have 5x. But if y is -1, this is -1 times 3, so it's going to be -3 equals 6. And now I solve this equation for x, and that's what's going to go in this box. So if I solve this equation for x, I add 3 to both sides, so I get 5x equals 9. And then I divide by 5, so I get x equals 9 over 5. And they want you to write the answer as simplified fractions and not decimals. So 9 divided by 5 is a decimal, but when you click the box here, when you click the box, it doesn't give you a decimal. It gives you a box here, which is going to be a fraction. So it's going to be 9 on top and 5 on the bottom. Okay. Um, and we do the same thing for 0. Plug 0 in for x. If I plug 0 in for x here, that's 0. So I can solve this in my head. 3 times 2 is equal to 6. So I'm going to put 2 here. And then for the last one, if y is -3, if this is -3, then it's going to be 5x. It's going to be 5x. And let's see, -3. So 3 times -3 is -9. So that's going to be -9 equals 6. I add 9 to both sides, so I get 5x equals 15. And divide by 5, so I get x equals 3. So this is going to be 3 here. Okay. Don't click the check answer until all of your boxes are filled out. Then you'll get the green check mark, and you'll have um, the second part here. It says part 2. It says plot the points and graph the line. So here's the points, and then graph the line. Now, all you need to do is plot 2 of the points, I believe. You don't have to plot them all because 2 points determine a line. So I'm just going to plot these last 2, so I don't have to plot the fraction. So 0, 2, and 3, -3. So 0, 2. I'm going to just use this line. Actually, I'm going to use this line. So I'm going to just plot 2 points here. So I'm going to click this line tool. Notice when I click the line tool and I go around the graph, it asks you to place the first point. So the first point I'm going to place is 0, 2. So 0 is the first coordinate, and then 2 is the second coordinate. So that's going to be that point there. And then the second point's 3, -3. So 3, -3. I'm going to click that. And now I have that blue line here, and I just plotted these 2 points. I didn't plot the entire table. I didn't plot the 9 over 5 -1, but 9 over 5 -1 would be 9 divided by 5, and that's 3, -3. Let me check the answer. And I get the green check mark. Okay. Let me clear this. Okay. Skip to number 5. 5 gives you, it says graph the linear equation by using a table of solutions. It doesn't give you the table, so basically you can choose whatever numbers you want as far as the x's and the y's. So let's see, if I choose, let's see, if I just do a little table here, I just need to have two numbers, two points. So I'm going to do a little quick table, my x here and my y here. Okay, so I'm gonna choose. Let's see, I'm gonna choose 0 for x. If I plug 0 in for x, that's going to be -0. There's no such thing as -0. That's just 0. So 0 plus what number equals 3? Well, that would have to be a 3 here. Okay. And then I'm going to have to find another point. So I'm going to choose 0 for y. You really can choose any number. You don't want to make it too big because your y value goes up to 11 only. So I'm just choosing 0 for y because it makes it easy. And if I plug 0 in for y here, that's 0. So I end up with this equation. I get -x equals 3. And if I solve this for x, divide both sides by -1, or multiply both sides by -1, I get x equals -3. So I get these points here. These 2 points are called the intercepts. We're going to get to that in a little bit. But 0, 3, I'm going to click this line tool here. And I'm going to go to the first point, 0, 3. And then I'm going to go to the second point, -3, 0. And I'm going to check the answer here. Okay, probably the easiest way to graph is using that tool, the line tool. Remember, all we need is 2 points. 2 points determine a line. Okay. Let's see. I want to go to number 6. Oh, that's basically the same thing. You're just choosing 2 points, and I would choose 0 again for x and 0 for y. So I can skip that one. It's the same. 8. Okay, so 8 has a fraction in it. So let's take a look at this one here. It has a fraction in it. You got to be careful. Well, 0 would be, remember, table solutions is just a table of solutions, choosing your x and y. I'm going to choose 0 for x again because 0 times that fraction right there, 0 times this fraction is 0, and 0 plus 2 is 2, so y is equal to 2. Now the y and the x are on either side, so I'm going to choose another number for x besides 0 that I can take 5 over 2 or 5 halves of, and numbers that are easy to take 5 halves of are multiples of 2. So I'm going to choose 2 for x, and if I choose 2 for x, the reason I chose 2, I put 2 in there for x. These 2's actually cancel. Okay, these 2's cancel. If you don't want to cancel them, then it would be 2 over 1, and then you go 5 times 2 is 10, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. But the 5 is right here, so these 2's right here cancel. So these just have 5 plus 2, and 5 plus 2 is 7. So those are my 2 points I'm going to use. 0, 2, and 2, 7. So there's my line tool. So 0, 2, and 2, and then up 7. And check my answer. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to skip to number 10. All right. Okay. So 10 talks about what I was just speaking about: x-intercepts and y-intercepts. So to find the x-intercept, you always set y equal to 0 and solve for x. You're always setting the other one equal to 0. If you think about the graph, the point on the x-axis has the y value equal to 0. And then to find the y-intercept, we always set x equal to 0, and we solve for y. Okay, and we'll get to an example on the next problem here. And it's really the same thing I did with the tables. I think it's 11. Yeah, so here it is. It asks you for the x-intercept. So let's just do the table here. All right, there's the table. So for the x-intercept, the table, I always write the table this way. It's called a little t-table. X's comes on the left, y is on the right. So for the x-intercept, you let y be 0. If you let y be 0 here, if this is 0, then x minus 0 equals 10, because 5 times 0 is 0. So if x minus 0 equals 10, then x has got to equal 10. So we're going to type that in here. We just type in 10, 0. Check answer. Part 2 probably will ask you for the y-intercept. For the y-intercept, now we're going to set x equal to 0. So using the same table here, if I set x equal to 0, now I have 0 minus 5y, so I'll just put minus 5y equals 10. Divide both sides by negative 5, and I get negative 2. So the y-intercept is 0, negative 2. Okay, check answer. And let's see, part 3. Oh, part 3 has you graph the equation. So use the x-intercept and the y-intercept to graph the equation. So 10, 0 is right here. So again, I'm going to go here, 10, 0. There's the x-intercept. And 0, negative 2, there's the y-intercept. Okay, the x-intercept is called the x-intercept because it's on the x-axis. The y-intercept is called the y-intercept because it's the point on the y-axis that the line goes through. Check our answer. And we did all 3 parts. Okay, that was 11. Let's see what 13 is all about. Okay, same thing. Find the x-intercept. It asks you to find the x-intercept, find the y-intercept, and graph. So I'm going to skip 13. Okay, 14 asks you to use something called the slope formula. Let's first talk about the word slope. Okay, the word slope. The word slope is basically the slant of a line. Okay, a line can slant this way, a line can slant this way, a line can slant this way, a line could slant like flat, a line could be vertical. Okay, so what we can do is we could actually put a value for the slant of a line. So we say that there's a formula here, but the formula for slope is, these are not exponents, by the way. These are, actually, let me go back and erase this. Okay, the slope formula. Okay, so slope formula, they call it M, not S for slope. So M is equal to the slope, and it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now these 1s and 2s are not exponents; they're called subscripts, and so basically they're there so that you keep track of your 1s and 2s because you have 2 y values and you have 2 x values. So it doesn't matter which one you call y2 or y1; you just want to be consistent. So I'm going to call this one here y1. and I'm going to call this one here y2. It's always the second one. The second one is the y, the first one is the x. So if I do y2 minus y1, that's going to be, let's see, my y2 is 0. So it's 0 minus negative 4. And then if I call this one y1, then I have to call this one x1, and I have to call this one x2. So this is x2 minus x1. So I have 0 minus negative 4, and I have 5 minus 0. Well, 0 minus a negative 4, remember a minus is a plus, so that's going to be just 4. And then 5 minus 0 is 5 minus 0, which is 5. So you get the slope. If I click in here, I get a fraction. So I go 4 on top and 5 on the bottom. Oop, got to click the box. 5 on the bottom. Okay, and I can check my answer. Now, I didn't necessarily need to call the first one the ones and the second one listed the twos. I could have done the subtraction the other way, and I would have gotten the same answer. Okay, let me show you. If I would have said, instead of 0 minus negative 4, if I started here and I did negative 4 minus 0, that would just mean that I would have to be consistent and do the bottom to be 0 minus 5. So wherever you're starting at and do the subtraction, you have to be consistent when you do the subtraction on the bottom. And if you do that, negative 4 minus 0, you get negative 4. And 0 minus 5 is negative 5. Notice that the negatives cancel because you have a negative over a negative, and you would still get the same answer, 4 over 5. Okay? So that's if you're given 2 points. If you're given 2 points, you want to use the slope formula. This is the slope formula. You might want to write this down. You're going to be using it starting on question 14. Okay. Couple more, and then we'll be done. 17. Okay. So 17 gives you this a graph, and it asks you to find the slope of a line from the graph. Okay. So when lines slant in certain directions, some of them have positive slopes, some of them have negative slopes, some of them have zero slopes, some of them have undefined slopes. So let me go over that quickly here. Lines that slant this way have positive slope. Lines that slant this way have negative slope. Lines that are flat have zero slope, and lines that are straight up and down have undefined slope. Okay, and sometimes people say no slope, but I'd rather you say undefined because no slope can be confused with zero. So flat lines are zero, vertical lines are undefined. So this one here, this blue line here, is definitely a negative slope. That's a negative slope. So to find the slope of a line, what we have to do if it's graphed is we have to identify 2 points on the line and that are very clear. So I'm going to use the intercepts here. That point there and that point there. I could have used this point here or this point here or this point here. Okay, but then I want to do is I'm going to choose 2 points and I'm going to draw a little triangle. It's called the slope triangle. Now that triangle has it has a rise and it has a run. So remember that slope formula, m equals. I'm not going to use the y2 and the y1s now. I'm just going to use words. So it's the rise over the run. The rise is up and down, The run is side to side, and it all deals with the triangle. So how far do you rise? Well, what's the distance from this point to this point? Well, that's 2. So the rise is 2 and the run is 1, but it's negative. So it's going to be a negative 2 over 1, or just negative 2. I'm just going to put negative 2. Okay. All right. That's number 17. I'm also going to be talking about this during our live lecture this morning. Today is June 21st. And let's go over one more. I think it's question 20. Yep, question 20. All right. All right, so this one gives you the slope of a line is negative 7. And it asks you what's the slope of a line parallel to the given line. Well, if you understand what the word parallel means, and I think most of you have probably seen the word parallel, kind of like railroad tracks. Railroad tracks are parallel. So if one has a slope of negative 7, so let's just say like that line there has a slope of negative 7, well, then this line here, if it's parallel, that means its slope is the same. These two lines are parallel. If this one has a slope of negative 7, then this one has to have a slope of negative 7. So we just simply put in the box here, we just put negative 7. And the only reason I knew it was negative 7 is because they gave me the slope up here of negative 7. Okay, now the word perpendicular for part 2, this is not as common of a word, perpendicular. So perpendicular means that lines are meeting at right angles. Okay, they meet at right angles. So if you have one line like this, the line perpendicular is going to be coming straight and making a right angle. So one thing about perpendicular lines, if one of them's negative, the other one's got to be positive. So they have to have opposite signs. Okay, this one obviously is a negative slope. This one here is going to be a positive slope. So lines that are perpendicular are opposite, and I'm going to use a big word here, reciprocals. Opposite reciprocals. Okay. What a reciprocal is it's a fraction that's turned upside down. So like if you had a fraction like 2/3, the reciprocal, this is supposed to be an R, the reciprocal of 2/3 is just 3 over 2. Okay, so opposite means opposite sign, and then you flip-flop the fraction. So we have a line that has slope of negative 7. Well, negative 7 is not a fraction, but if I put this over 1, it becomes a fraction. You can put whole numbers, you can put them over 1. So now you have the top part and the bottom part of a fraction. And now, to find the line that's perpendicular, we take the opposite sign, so it's going to be positive, and then we just flip-flop the fraction. Put the 1 on top, put the 7 on the bottom. Okay, notice it's not negative 7 on the bottom because I took the opposite sign. So it's 1 over 7. And that's going to be the, I think you get a box if you click that. Yeah, there's the box right there. So you put 1 on top and 7 on the bottom. And check the answer. Okay, so that should get you through most of homework number 4. Again, this video is not intended to get all the information to you, so please either attend the live Zoom sessions this week or watch the videos. I'll be live in about an hour and a half from now at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I will see some of you in class. Otherwise, um, be on the lookout for another mini video dealing with homework 5 on Tuesday and another one dealing with homework 6 on Wednesday. Hope everybody has a good week. Bye for now.